After 3 days of training, I lead groups of inner-city high school kids on backpacking trips in Desolation Wilderness and Yosemite National Park. This idea came to me when I was planning my Eagle project. I wanted to introduce kids with fewer resources to the spectacular wilderness that I've experienced. I've refined the concept so I can repeat it and expand it, and eventually introduce hundreds of inner-city teenagers to wilderness areas just hours from where they live. I want to give these teens an experience they might never have otherwise, an opportunity to get out of the city and into the mountains. Through these trips, kids learn new skills, develop as leaders, and try something brand new. For me, it's also about bringing communities together to enjoy and learn from a shared experience. I also wanted the kids to meet Shelton Johnson, a park ranger from Yosemite who starred in a Ken Burns documentary about our national parks, and whose perspective on the importance of wilderness should inspire anyone. My plan is to develop and support the leaders among these kids to bring more and more people from their community out each year. This video offers a glimpse of what these trips are like. This program is about providing kids with the opportunity to see the things my brother and I have seen. He and I are lucky to have traveled and trekked all over the world when we were young. These experiences really shaped me as a person. I can't think of anything that was more important for me. But there are kids right across the bay in Oakland who have not been exposed to the wilderness. Everyone should have the opportunity to explore these vast wild places where I've been. We put this up this morning and I just want to show you what it looks like. Here. So you got 2 poles that keeps your tent up. So the kids started out not knowing any backpacking skills. They didn't really know what backpacking was. But after 3 days of learning and practicing the basics, now they have the skills they need to backpack.
We're gonna make 2 bags of maple.
Open it, spill in the bucket, you know?
Getting in his liner first, and then he's getting in his sleeping bag. That's a good idea. Let's see, right hand. You're gonna need him too. Under. There you go. Let's mix Creek, Lake Genevieve, and we're gonna stay at Crag Lake. So we gotta go from there to there.
What did you think of Shelton Johnson?
Shelton Johnson, he really cares about places like this and about getting people who look like me and himself into places like this and the good it could do. When he was holding my hand and he was looking into my eyes and I just felt this energy from him and it was great.
Welcome to Yosemite. Welcome home. Welcome home. You notice how I'm looking right at you in your eyes just like that? When I met President Obama at the White House, he took my hand, like I'm holding your hand right here. He looked me right in the eyes, like I was the only thing that existed in this world. That's the impact of someone making you feel welcome. I want to make you feel as welcome as he made me feel welcome at the White House. I grew up in Detroit. I grew up in the inner city. No one that I grew up with was ever taken to a national park, ever dreamed of visiting a national park. And no one told me that Yellowstone, Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, Zion, those places belong to me. Anyone who grows up in that environment, it should be mandatory that you are taken to the mountains, because otherwise your world is just a few streets that way, a few streets that way, and you can't go that way because you know who hangs out there and you'll get beat up if you're over there. That's what it was like for me in Detroit.
My name is Ashanti Branch. I'm from Oakland, California. I'm the founder and executive director of the Ever Forward Club. Our role is giving our young men tools so they don't have to get locked up to figure out that they don't want to be like that. And I think when our young men can get more experiences where they're not looking at a device to evaluate themselves, to evaluate what's important to them, I think that can absolutely not only transform their life, but their children's lives and their children's children's lives. And that can change our communities. That can change our world. And we need more of that.
We're really starting to transfer all the responsibility and the leadership over to the kids, which is the point of the trip. The further and further we get into it, the more and more they're going to do for themselves. So, for example, today they set up all their tents by themselves, and they did most of the cooking.
At the beginning, putting up tents, they were nagging about that, and they were having a hard time, but now you can see them volunteering super fast to put up tents, to cook, to do these things.
This is the biggest challenge I think that we've ever put them to as Ever Forward. So I think seeing them in that mode is very powerful. You don't get to see this in the concrete jungle of Oakland, right?
Beauty is not just something on a postcard. Beauty is medicine. And it's medicine that everyone in this country that does not engage in this sort of activity is lacking. John Muir had a phrase for it. He called it beauty hunger, that people are hungry for some kind of ancient, ancestral, natural beauty that's part of what it means to be a human being. Because when you're in the mountains, there's something that happens at the cellular level, in your blood, in your bones, because you're experiencing something that will change your life. And that's great, that there's a beauty in this world that you can pull yourself away from and it'll never leave you. It'll be with you forever.
It definitely opens your eyes to like what's really out there in the world, you know?
The mountains, the view is so beautiful. It's like life.
You don't get to see the dozens and dozens of stars that are out tonight.
No lie, I forgot there were stars.
A lot of people of color, they don't know about places like this. So most of them don't make it up here. So we just don't know about it. It's kind of like, dang, like why, you know? Like why can't more of us be out here?
It's a powerful force that pulls people from everywhere, except the inner city. And you'll see when you're out there, count, you take a tally, how often you run into a person of color when you're back there. You're looking and going, this is incredibly beautiful. Where are my people? That's amazing. Where are my people? So where you're going, there have been people who look like you who were there 100 years ago. African Americans were in Yosemite, in Sequoia, protecting those parks before there was any such thing as a national park ranger. These African American soldiers that were here, they built the first trail to the top of Mount Whitney, the highest mountain in the contiguous United States. If we don't hear stories about ourselves in places like this, then that means the default is we were never in places like this. We have no connection to places like this, so why should we go? So you'll see backpackers and very few of them will look like us, like me. But that doesn't matter because you know that we were there.
One thing I never knew about Yosemite is that like it was even like black people like the first protectors of Yosemite, and that was mind-blowing.
To actually smell the fresh air, see the trees, these things all like make me want to explore, do more, see more. Like I didn't know how great this place was until I came here.
Let's do it like that.
This was an inspiring experience. All of the wildlife and all of the vegetation and all of the people of different races that visit here.
What was your favorite meal?
Mac and chili. Yeah, that chili mac.
Lasagna.
Mac and cheese.
I like the lasagna.
You're with people that'll take care of you. That's the important thing. And then eventually, you'll learn, and then you can help other people take care of themselves. And that's how it starts.
Backpacking is special because of the spectacular scenery, the confidence that comes from climbing mountains and being self-sufficient over dozens or hundreds of miles, and because you get to see what the unspoiled world has looked like for thousands of years. These trips can be life-changing. Once you're out there with the right gear and the right guidance, nature will do the rest. There's hardly any diversity on the trail. You rarely see people of color in the wilderness. My goal is to change that.
You're in a movement to get people of color into a place and places that they already own. Are you ready? Are you ready to become inspired by a place that you own? Yes, sir. Are you ready to be awakened to a place and to a world that you did not even know existed? Yes, sir. Then Yosemite is yours. Claim it.
If you would like to see places like this, join us this summer on our next adventure.